Capoeira is a unique blend of martial art, dance, music, and culture that originated in Brazil. Created by enslaved Africans who used it as both a tool of resistance and a form of cultural preservation. Today, it's a globally recognized art form practiced across continents, celebrated not just for its physical movement, but for the history it carries in every step, kick, and song. 1. Origins and enslavement. The roots of capoeira trace back to the 16th century. During the Portuguese colonization of Brazil, millions of Africans were forcibly brought to Brazil to work on sugar plantations and in mines. These enslaved people came from regions like Angola, the Congo, and Mozambique, each with its own traditions of music, ritual combat, and dance. On the plantations in quilombos, and in urban slave quarters, these African cultures blended and adapted under extreme oppression. Capoeira likely developed as a disguised martial art, allowing enslaved people to practice combat training under the guise of dancing and music. The flowing acrobatic moves were camouflaged as celebration, yet they prepared practitioners for rebellion or escape. Capoeira was never just a fighting technique. It was a symbol of resistance, a way to maintain dignity, culture, and hope. 2. The quilombos and the fight for freedom. During the 1600s and 1700s, many enslaved Africans escaped into the jungles of Brazil and formed quilombos or free communities. The most famous was Quilombo dos Palmares, which lasted nearly a century and housed thousands. Capoeira was a critical part of defense in these communities. It offered agility, rhythm, and awareness, ideal for guerrilla-style resistance against colonial militias. These early communities were independent black republics, and Capoeira helped them preserve African heritage while defending their freedom. 3. Criminalization and suppression. After the abolition of slavery in Brazil in 1888, freed Africans and their descendants still faced poverty, racism, and exclusion from mainstream society. Capoeira became associated with street fighting, criminal gangs' resistance to the elite and police forces in 1890. Capoeira was officially banned by law under Brazil's first republican constitution. Practicing capoeira could lead to arrest, imprisonment, public beatings. Capoeiristas developed a reputation as rebels, outlaws, and bodyguards. To survive, they hid their art, used nicknames to protect identity, and disguised movements within music and performance. 4. The cultural shift. From crime to national symbol. Capoeira began its path to legitimacy, thanks to the work of two key figures. Mestre Bemba. Born Manuel dos Reis Machado, Mestre Bemba is credited with creating Capoeira Regional, modernized, more structured version of capoeira. He opened the first legal capoeira school in 1932 in Salvador, Bahia. To gain official acceptance, Bemba emphasized discipline, uniforms, graduation systems, and demonstrations for politicians and the public. In 1953, he performed for Brazilian President Vargas, who famously said, "Capoeira is the only truly national sport." Mr. Pastinha, he championed the preservation of Capoeira Angola, the more traditional ritualistic form rooted in African heritage. His school emphasized philosophy, music, and ritual, keeping the spirit of capoeira's African origins alive. Thanks to their efforts, capoeira shifted from an outlawed practice to a recognized cultural tradition, though it still faced discrimination for decades. 5. Capoeira today. Global practice, deep roots today. Capoeira is practiced in over 160 countries, with schools, teachers, and students from all backgrounds. Ginga, the foundational movement, a swaying stance that builds rhythm and unpredictability. Roda, the circle formed by participants, where two capoeiristas engage while others play instruments and sing. Berimbau, the lead instrument, a one-string percussion bow that sets the pace and energy of the game. Songs and calandra response. Sung in Portuguese, these preserve oral history, honor maesters, and teach moral or historical lessons. Game, not fight. Capoeira is often called a jogo. It emphasizes flow, strategy, and creativity rather than brute force. There are two primary styles: Capoeira Angola, slower, low to the ground, deeply traditional. Capoeira regional faster, more athletic and acrobatic. 6. Capoeira's legacy. More than movement, capoeira is a cultural survival story. It preserves African identity in the Americas. It teaches resilience, community, and rhythm. It has influenced hip-hop, breakdancing, MMA, and performance art around the world. In 2014, Capoeira was declared an intangible cultural heritage of humanity by UNESCO, a major milestone in acknowledging its global value and historical struggle. Conclusion: Capoeira as living history. Capoeira isn't just a martial art, it's a dialogue of bodies. A song of the oppressed, a dance of freedom. Every movement carries centuries of resistance. Every beat of the Berimbau echoes stories of survival and pride. In a world where cultural roots are often erased or diluted, capoeira remains a vibrant, living archivant. Those who practice it carry that story forward with every spin, kick, and song.